No,
Welcome into the Bafflip Entertainment College Football Show.
He did say show.
What is this guy doing?
I'm depressed.
About
It's a sad day.
why? Because Indiana's still alive?
All his hopes and dreams of a
Can't accept this.
gotcha
fate.
moment. It's all gone.
I'm
I
dead.
forgot what happened since the last time we did this.
I have to drown my sorrows in my favorite Pop-Tarts.
Oh, are those the wildberry?
Yes, they are.
Oh no, I've never had wildberry.
Hand one over to Adam.
Oh, man.
Here, take it.
No free
Thanks,
ads,
buddy.
Cooper. Cover the Pop-Tart. Do you want to talk about your
Sad day.
sorrows?
No,
All right.
Rate it
I
1
have to
through
drown
10.
him.
Look at that moonshine.
Don't ask what's in there.
Moonshine.
It's not legal.
How'd bowl season go, Adam? Oh, wait. I got to do the intro.
Oh,
Welcome
right.
to the College Football Show presented by Bafflip Entertainment, Bafflip Podcast, and Bafflip Breaks, Bafflip Adam, and Bafflip Cooper. I'm your host, Hank.
That
Cooper's
put me
still
off a bridge.
Apparently drowning. He's upset. He's eating Pop-Tarts. I think Wildberry might have died 2 years ago, but I'm not sure.
Those expired at least a year ago.
Yeah, but were they hung in the rafters? Was Wildberry hung in the rafters, or was it strawberry and cookies and cream? We
I
gotta
don't
figure out.
know.
Yeah, we gotta figure that out. Look that up, stats department.
I'm too depressed to care.
Adam,
This man's hopes and dreams just lost.
bowl season.
Dude, I do have some news for Cooper that might cheer him up.
Minnesota won their bowl game.
That's true. No, we went through. We picked every non-CFP bowl game, and those are the important ones. Those are the ones that matter. We won't touch on all of them, but we all did pick USF, and USF lost by 2 touchdowns. Let's see. Cooper picked Kennesaw State to beat Western Michigan. He also told me to eat a dick because I picked Western Michigan. So
I did.
good call by him. We all picked Memphis. I said Memphis by 1 million. They lost 31-7. Only Cooper got the Bush's Boca Raton baked beans Bush's Raton Bowl right. You got Toledo.
I know my beans.
Who knows? Man knows his beans. We all picked Ohio to beat UNLV.
UNLV is the most fraudulent, undefeated team of all time.
Absolutely. We all picked Hawaii to beat Cal in the game of the year.
What a game.
The game was
That was
amazing.
an incredible game.
Even though it was a home game for Hawaii, you know.
That's funny.
Like,
hey,
Why?
can go to the Hawaii Bowl.
Cal traveled well. They had like 5 guys there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Here.
We all picked Minnesota. Minnesota undefeated in bowl games under flex. That's impressive. You know, if they make the
Money
playoffs,
is
I'll
it?
take them to go all the way.
6-0.
I think it was 6-0.
I thought it was 7.
Well, you're the
Might be
Minnesota fan.
Dude, bro is
I'm
like,
Yes.
impressed.
are you a Pop-Tart and a half deep now?
Yes, I am.
Not even in the toaster, man? They even toast them.
That's
Oh
why I
my
said they're
God.
dry.
Yeah, because they weren't in a toaster.
I shouldn't be doing this. This is terrible for a podcast.
I love
Yeah,
it.
it is.
We should all do this. So-
People just watch us all eat a Pop Tart.
Doing a fucking mukbang during a Bat Flip Entertainment show.
Honestly, we
Football
could probably do that
breaks.
as the intro instead of the intro we have now.
Just
Just
eating
all eat a
Pop-Tarts?
Pop-Tart.
Just eat Pop-Tarts. Who can eat the most Pop-Tarts in a minute?
This week I got strawberry.
Oh, man.
Oh.
We all picked UTSA to beat the airport. That was cool. I picked Pitt. You guys both picked ECU. Congrats. I said I have a brain on that one. Good call by me. Penn State Clemson was interesting. The
national
preseason
champion.
national championship game we got early. That was cool. Cooper was the only one to pick Penn State. Hank and I both said Clemson by 1,000,000. Cooper picked UConn to beat Army, who lost 41-16. You know what? I wasn't even gonna touch on this one, but the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Only Hank got
What
that
a
one
game.
right.
That was it. Incredible game.
Incredible game. BYU pulls it out. Only Hank picked BYU. Probably looking back, kind of Hank's king, man. You know. We all had
Yeah,
Miami,
nice.
Ohio, beating Fresno. That was dumb. Oh, let's see here. We had the SEC mess. I just picked against the SEC every time because, come on.
How'd that work out for this bowl season?
It worked out great. They actually they did worse than I thought they would. And I had them going like 50-50. That was pretty impressive. And you can't count the games they played against each other.
They did lose those.
Oh. Yeah, they won those and lost those. That is true.
Mhm.
Oh, I picked Coastal Carolina. That was silly. Only Cooper picked USC. We all picked Vandy to beat Iowa.
Yeah,
Tough.
that was tough.
We believed in Piss and Pavia and just
I still do. They play that game 10 times. He wins at least 5 of them.
sure. That's really it. Hank was the only one to pick Texas to beat Michigan. Impressive call. I picked Rice to beat Texas State. I don't know why I did that. That final score of that one is 41-10.
You love Rice's quarterback.
They were on
Obviously.
the option, man. Like,
Yeah.
how can you
Love
not
their quarterback and how he throws it out of the flex bone.
love that wing tee?
There's crumbs everywhere.
You just ate 2 Pop-Tarts.
I didn't think
In record time.
Oh,
Hey.
I didn't think Pop-Tarts had crumbs.
They don't if you toast them.
They're the
I
crummiest
knew they were gonna have
snack on the planet.
That's really it. But I will. We do have a final total tally. Final total
This one's
tally
gonna make Cooper happy.
records. Yeah, I got some good news for Cooper. Cooper picked the most correct with a record of 24-11.
Damn.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
If you would have bet on that, you'd have made money.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been all money lines. Who would have made
I
anything?
spent all my money on Pop-Tarts.
Oh, Hank finished the second with 22-13, and I finished third with 21-14.
You
Shouldn't have
suck.
picked Rice. Shouldn't have picked Rice. I don't know ball. I'm sorry.
You suck.
We still all did pretty good, to be honest.
It's not bad. Not bad. I'll have to keep this in a spreadsheet so we can try to beat it next year when bowl games are canceled.
Even more relevant.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna do. Cooper and I fixed bowl games on the last episode.
Oh,
They're
tell
gonna
me.
just follow us. Oh, thanks for listening to the podcast.
I only listen to the ones I'm on. There's a lot of good ones.
Not true. You commented on the solo show I did.
The solo show was good. I will give you that. You can rant with the best of them. I want to see Hank do a solo show. Honestly,
I will never.
me neither.
Lame.
I can't even do a show with the three of you.
Adam, 1 week we should just show up and leave him figure it out by himself.
You guys just mime.
Mm-hmm. We'll sit in the back. We'll be stats department together and just laugh at you.
We'll give you all the stats you need.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly.
Better than our stats department right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that guy.
That private chat's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Does that guy even show up anymore?
No, he doesn't.
No.
We work for free. Like,
I know.
He leaves it up to me.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I still owe him $41 though, so I can't talk shit.
Oh, you only have to pay him 41?
Was it not 41?
How
How much do I owe Damien?
I must have got charged interest.
For me, it's 41. Or was it 40?
I thought it was.
Was it less than that?
I think it was 44.
How much did you
44.
how much did you pay him, Hank? Damn.
I paid him 44.
So did
Yeah.
I.
That's okay. He does this thing during Sundays because we split Sunday ticket, but he likes to have like 8 screens on at once, so it just kicks my TV off while I'm trying to watch Myles Garrett set records. To yell at him, so, you know. Enough about the Damien podcast. What are we talking about today? What's going on? What do we got?
We're gonna talk about the quarterfinals that we don't really need to have. And then we're gonna preview the semifinals. So we'll start with the quarterfinals. And I do love this stat that continually pops up. The one outlier here is gonna be Miami. When we had the college football playoff, when it was 4 teams, the average margin of victory in the semifinals was 17 points per game. We've been over that multiple times. The only good game we've really had would be the Ole Miss Georgia game from this quarterfinals, I would say.
You know, from the quarterfinals?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I thought the Indiana game was great. I don't know what you mean. Define good game.
Close game.
Oh, close game. Okay.
When you go close game.
Miami, Ohio State was kind of close.
Miami
It was
felt
weird.
in control of that game from the jump.
That was one of those classic Ryan Day's team gets hit in the mouth and they just kind of fold. It's just like the thing they didn't do last year, except against Michigan. But
They were more,
yeah,
I'd say, high-powered last year, but for some reason they just seem that way.
Yeah, that was Can we? Is it safe to just call? Cooper looks depressed. Is it good just to call Ohio State frauds this year? Like, can we? They didn't play anybody all year, and then they played 2 good teams and get their ass.
Why don't you tell us what you think of Ohio State?
I was going to say, I've been waiting for you guys to dogpile on me. That's why I was depressed.
I know. This is your time. The floor is yours.
I was wrong. Very wrong.
Yeah, we know.
That's why I'm drowning my sorrows in Pop-Tarts and stuff I can't name. That's in.
We told you that 3 months ago.
And I didn't listen, which was my mistake, because I thought I knew better. I thought that the fact that we compared to Indiana and not seeing the consistent, like, year after year after year of consistent success, and then just this year really being the year that they finally had a really good season with Cignetti, you'd think that that would be the fraud team, and that Ohio State, the team that has consistently been good, consistently competed for national championships, has won national championships, that they would not be the frauds. That's where I came as far as like my perspective on it. Watching that game, especially considering the fact that coming into this playoffs, I was one of those people that thought Miami shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. To see them come in and, like you guys say, just make Ohio State look, I mean, like the biggest pretender you could possibly imagine. It depressed me. And not depressed me in the sense of like, I'm a Ohio State fan, obviously. It's more so just that you saw an entire season of what looked like one of the best defenses in college football and could not stop the run. I waited for the 3 interceptions from Carson Beck that never came.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line, Hank, I'll give you credit, could not hold Miami's D line, and
Best defensive line in the country.
kudos to Miami. Like, I think also like Cristobal has been there for so long, and they've been kind of like a somewhat of a mid-level team there for a while, and then you kind of have that same expectation of like, all right, well they'll barely make it into the playoffs and they'll get bounced by Ohio State pretty easily here, and that obviously did not happen. You can say
Did
something?
not. No, I was gonna. This goes to show like how important a defensive line is. I think Miami by far for the entire year has had the best defensive line in football, and that defensive line has dominated 2 games to put them into now the semifinals.
Yeah. So, in many different ways, I mean, from top to bottom, the Ohio State just looked like the inferior team all across the board. Sayan looked lost a lot of times. I think part of this amount of sacks that he had on him were the offensive line's fault, but there are a few that he kind of walked into by just either holding on to the ball too long or panic. And that, again, is the freshman quarterback side of him coming out and
He
making
did that
mistakes.
against Indiana too.
Yeah.
You don't want to hold on to it. I think he's more scared to throw an interception than he is to take a 15-yard sack.
Mhm.
Is really what that
So-
boils down to.
Kind of funny. You look at that game and then you go back and look at what Miami did to Notre Dame at the beginning of the season. Those games both look really similar. Notre Dame did not look good for 3 quarters against Miami, and then they were able to kind of come back and make it a game. Ohio State didn't quite do that, but it was kind of the same thing where, man, like Miami was like really shutting them down. I was kind of waiting, like, okay, like when's it gonna happen? Come on, Ohio State. Come on,
They got a little bit in that third quarter. I think they found Jeremiah Smith once or twice, and it was like, okay, now they've got it rolling. But no, I'm as shocked about Miami as any other team in there. I didn't think that they didn't deserve to be there, but I didn't think that they would make any much noise past A&M. I guess
A&M game kind of felt like a toss up. I mean,
in a way it felt like a toss up, but the way that they played that game, that was more indicative of that they could make a run. Like that defensive line is that good. They can shut down any offense in the country. What happened against SMU and who else they lose to?
Louisville, yes.
I have no idea.
yeah, I have no idea either.
I mean, if you told me the last 2 weeks that Miami's the number 1 team in the country, I wouldn't have an argument against it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if those are slip ups. People aren't paying. I don't know. Whatever.
Hey, you can go back and even on this podcast, like back in September, we were talking about, hey, Miami looks like they might be the best team in football. Miami looks like they might be. We had a whole conversation about that, and then they lost twice for some reason.
Were frauds again.
Then they were frauds again, and then we're coming. And for what it's worth, I still don't think that they were like record, their strength of record, whatever record wise, losing those 2 games. I didn't feel like they deserved to be in. I don't think any of us did. I don't know. Hank, did you have him in? I know Cooper didn't, but
I think I may have had them.
We had BYU over them was the big thing. I think.
Yeah, I think that was the difference. I don't think
because we felt they deserved it more than anything, but
I don't think I was different than I wasn't standing on the Notre Dame drum and being like they need to be in over everyone else or like Vanderbilt or something like that because they're SEC. But
sure,
it was the undefeated teams or the 1-loss teams in power conferences that maybe deserved it a little bit.
That's fair. Nope, I would still stand on the BYU. To this day, I would still say BYU just from looking straight at it. Probably should have still been in over them, but
no, I agree with that.
Yeah, there's that whole argument about deserving and being good on paper and the eye test, and unfortunately, I feel like this is gonna in the future probably be a lot of people are gonna point to this and be like, oh well, yeah, they lost those games, but did you see what Miami did that one year? And then we're gonna be putting in teams that maybe shouldn't be. It's gonna be what it is, but
it's either that or that it gives validation at some point for them to do, I don't know, I guess the correct thing. The
This
other
is
validation to this might be to never let two G5 teams in.
That's probably the answer anyway.
unfortunately, yeah. And I think kind of to Adam's point, that's one of the things besides the immediate shock of like, I can't not believe Ohio State just lost to Miami right after the game was over. The next thing I thought was the unfortunate consequence is going to be the committee's going to see, we got it right. We were right all along. You guys just didn't believe in us. You guys didn't think we got it right. You guys bashed on us for weeks, blah, blah, blah. See, we were right all along to put them in.
But
And
they
it's
were
only
right.
Well, the problem is that now,
about
there's still the argument of that because we still feel like what you're saying, there's the argument to make that BYU probably should have still been above them based off of, the regular season track record.
Mhm.
So, but the problem is that going into the future now, when the committee does make a decision that we're going to sit here and go, how in God's earth could you put A over B? Have another instance where you put an Alabama in when they probably shouldn't have been in. They can sit there and say to themselves, well, we were right about Miami. So,
Mhm.
I think
Well,
the most fraudulent team in this playoffs that wasn't guaranteed was Oklahoma by far. And I think that was very obvious coming into it.
no, they looked horrible. You had to have them in though. I like record wise, their one loss was the Mateer being hurt, and then they beat Alabama. It's like, well, you got to rank them ahead of them if you're gonna have them right next week. It's just, I don't think there's a way you could have re-ranked those where you have Oklahoma out. But you know what though, the thing is we've gone through this, and to your point about the committee being able to sit there and say, oh yeah, see what we're right. Well, you know what they were wrong about was all these SEC teams. They're wrong about all of them. And you think that's going to change? It's not. So we're going to be doing the same thing next year. So yeah, they might sit there and say, oh yeah, see, we were right about Miami, but let's ignore the Alabama thing. Let's ignore the Georgia thing. Let's ignore the A&M thing. Who cares? Oh yeah, no, whatever.
It is funny with the SEC thing. If you look at the Final Four right now, technically there's one from every like Power 5 conference if the Pac-12 were still to be around. The only one missing is the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ole
got
Miss being the last
Pac-12,
SEC
Big 10.
season.
Yeah.
Oh,
SEC
my
and
gosh.
ACC there. So
I like it for the narrative. I love it for the narrative. Their narrative's taking huge W's this offseason. I know it's not going to change because the media is going to just drive the same teams they do every year in the SEC. But man, like, come on, we gotta stop. We gotta stop sitting here, and maybe it just starts in the preseason because that's where we're ranking all these SEC teams so high, and we'll have 7 of them in the top 10, and then they all beat up on each other, and it goes back to that whole conversation where, oh yeah, well, when the SEC beats up on each other, it's because they're a great conference, and when everyone else does it, it's because they suck.
the Big
And
12
maybe that just
specifically.
Yeah, maybe that just stems from the preseason rankings. I don't know, but it's got to stop because I don't know how many more years I can take this. It's ridiculous.
I tell you what, though, that Texas Tech loss to Oregon does not help their argument either against the Big 12.
I think if you look at the game as a whole, it was 23-0, but Tech turned the ball over effectively 5 times. It was a terrible game from that standpoint. But Oregon wasn't like toting it down the field and just dunking all over them. They just scored points eventually from just getting handed the ball back over and over and over and over.
It was 6-0 at halftime.
Yeah, it wasn't like Oregon only had 300 yards of offense. And if you continually just hand the ball over to an offense, they'll eventually get some yards and points, but they couldn't run the ball. They ran for less than 2 yards a carry. Texas Tech ran not much better, but yeah, there was a little bit of an issue with Tech receivers getting open, but also Oregon wasn't impressive running the ball, and I don't know how far Oregon goes on Dante Moore's arm.
So Texas Tech, I mean, for what a weird game it was, they only had 80 more yards in the game. It was just I don't know what the hell happened, honestly.
It was a slow game too.
I'm a Texas Tech. I was a Tech believer. I going back, I picked them to win this game. It is what it is. I have no explanation for that. It was so weird.
Just it was a slow bleed, weird game. Their running back ran for 6 yards a carry. They could move the ball. Now, take away the 50-yard run, then I guess it was more like 3 yards a carry. But they were moving the ball when they would finally get a positive play on first down, but they turn the ball over every time. 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions, and a turnover on downs. Like, it's not conducive to winning football.
And Oregon 4 for 8 on 4th down. How much could have that just changed the game too?
Yeah. I mean, Dan Lanning's out there just letting it fly.
I was the only one out of the 3 of us that did pick Oregon, but they definitely did not win the game how I thought they would, in the sense of shutting Texas Tech out and having as many turnovers as they did. Is not how I saw the game going. I saw it being a lot closer game. I saw it being, a 31-24 kind of game. Yeah. Some more points up on the board from Texas Tech for sure is what I saw. Very disappointing is, I think, the best way to put it.
Both these teams this year are kind of opposite of what they've traditionally been. Oregon's more defensive, I would say. I don't think they have their offense hasn't been like this explosive thing that Chip Kelly had, or he was the next coach. Cristobal was there, Helfrich, any of them. There wasn't some high flying pretty thing. Texas Tech used to be same way, aired out, whatever. It's not really like that either. Both these teams are pretty built in the trenches. They're tough.
That's the whole reason I was really picking Tech to win, was just the defense.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give up. I don't remember what the number was, but they weren't giving up anything all season. They played some good offense. There's some good offenses in the Big 12.
They also won every game by at least 2 scores.
Mm-hmm.
It was double.
I was thinking at the very least you're going to be able to, and they kind of did. Like, I mean, if you would have told me in the beginning of it, they're going to hold Oregon to 23 points, I'm like, they probably win that game.
Yeah.
27-23 type thing. No, at least it scored points.
Yeah. The issue with that is not scoring.
Maybe this game is the right game to bring this up about the fact that now we've had this for the last 2 seasons, and we have a 1-7 record for teams that have a bye. Getting 20-some games off, I think, has gotten to the point, like, it's probably nice in some ways, but also it's really detrimental in other ways. Being off football for that long, it has to, like, the track record is now there. Like, it was not just a fluke last season.
I don't know how to explain it necessarily. My only explanation to this is that those first round games kind of settle teams down. If you look at, I felt like the Miami and A&M game specifically, the way that game was played was like both teams were just very nervous to start.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of that helps Miami going into the next week. Now, whether Ohio State's coming in nervous, whatever, like, I don't really believe in the rusty portion of it, like for football specifically. You should be rested. You should be healthy. Your bumps and bruises should be gone, essentially. It's not like they're not hitting. It's not like it's not something where you really need to get in the flow of anything again, I would say.
I was going to say, do you get out of routine because you've had, the most amount of time you've had a week off. So if you had just a week off where, like, other teams played during that 1 week and then you were right back to football, that's a bit different than having, 3 weeks off?
The energy is the difference of it, I would say. So if you I mean, if Miami just went to College Station, and probably the biggest crowd that they've ever seen. So that all of that energy that they either haven't been around before or have never played against, now they've experienced it. I think that's basically the lights aren't as bright the next week. Don't know how many freshmen or early year players Ohio State has, and no matter how calm they are, like that can still play a huge factor, I think. Whereas Miami's already played in one of those games. If Ohio State plays in one of those games the week before, maybe that game goes differently. But
You can't tell me it's not better to come off beating even a JMU. You know, just from a personal perspective, I remember Notre Dame beating Indiana in the first round last year. You get that home game, you're all amped, you know.
Yeah.
And then you come off a great game like that where you look great, you feel great going to the next one where the other team's been sitting at home watching. Like I've never been a fan of Bison football to begin with. I didn't want them in the first place.
No, I don't know that they necessarily help. I have to see that in the NFL too. I think you just have a bigger difference between your one seed essentially in the NFL versus, which I guess is what we just looked at here with Indiana whooping up on Bama. But I don't think that, like, the seeding might just be wrong is really what it comes down to. Because who was one of the four Boise State was technically.
The seeding was wrong last year for sure. The last year's seeding was all jacked up. But
Ohio State lost the last week and ended up as an 8 seed when they were going to be a top 4 seed, I think.
I don't think it was quite that dramatic, but yeah.
But who were stats department?
It was Arizona State got a bye
because they were a conference champion.
It was the conference champions all got byes and they all lost. Something like that. I don't know. It's top of my head, but
Ohio State not. Oh no, Ohio State was not in the conference championship, were they? 2024 first round.
I guess I'll just make this point while you're searching this. I'll just make this point. You don't think that rust plays a factor? I will slightly disagree, because when you're in a routine of 16 weeks of football, the NFL, you get the 1 week off. And for those guys, a lot of them are older. They really could use that extra week off before their home game. And there's actually an advantage to it. I feel like if you do play for 16 weeks and you have a couple buys in there, obviously we're not a couple weeks off where you're not playing games, but it's just the 1 week. When you're sitting for almost a month after playing 16 games and then you go and sit and not play games for a month, you can try your best to do simulated games and really keep yourself in as much football shape as you can, but there's no substitute, no matter how hard you try, of actually being in the game. And to me, I feel like rust might not be the whole thing, but I can't say I don't think it plays no factor. I feel like there is a part factor.
Rust isn't the right word. It is the fact that they haven't played. I don't think that they're rusty in the sense of like a basketball player needs to feel his shot back, or like a baseball player needs to get his swing back. There's not something like that in football. You're going over the same thing every day in practice, doing the same thing every single day. You know what you have to do on those plays. It's the energy that surrounds what's happening in the moment that changes things more so than, like, you're not rusty from running. You know how to run. You know how to catch. You know how to look. So there's not those types of emotions in football where you have to kind of feel it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's an instinctual game in a sense of that, but it's the emotional portion of it that I think plays the biggest factor in why these games go the way that they do.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you're right. Rust isn't the right word, but whatever it is, whether it's you're out of rhythm, whether it's, the motion get the best of you because of how long you're sitting, and it's like you're almost getting anxious because of how long you're sitting.
Point anymore, the way that it's played, it's timing. Your timing gets thrown off because of all the short. I'd be curious to see if a coach just came out and just turned around and handed the ball off for the entire first quarter if that changes how their team plays.
I don't know. It'll be interesting next year. I think that next year, if we see this whole thing over again, where one team out of all the bye teams is the only one that wins and all the other three lose, then then at that point it's like, all right, we have 3 years now, regardless of how the first seed, maybe the seeding was screwed up, but now we've had still multiple years of this being an issue. At some point, it's all right. Maybe we need to address like, okay, the bye is no longer really an advantage in the way that we have it set up.
I don't know that. I don't think the bye is the advantage, but I also think that the quarterfinal game should be played on campus. I don't think we need to be getting to bowl games until the semifinals if you really want to.
I do agree with that. Like Dan Lanning said in one of the interviews he was doing, like that he was wishing it was played in Texas and not in Miami.
That's the real advantage. It's not the bye week. It's the getting it to play at home. You're now one of the 4 best teams in the country, but you don't get to play a home playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make sense? Last year, yes, the seeding was extremely messed up. Boise State was a 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean they earned that?
Arizona State was a 4 seed. The ACC Conference champion was a 12 seed. Like none of that really made sense.
It is very obvious.
Your seeding's better.
It is better, but it is very obvious that this whole entire playoff thing is still screwed up. Because, like Hank, you and I had the conversation last week about taking bowl games completely out of the playoffs and having teams that don't make the playoffs play the bowl games. Like BYU and Georgia Tech maybe should have been the Rose Bowl instead of the Pop-Tart Bowl. And just have the playoff games be playoff games.
Yep.
There's been so many good ideas floated around with what to do with bowl games too. Like turning them into preseason games, turning them into the first game of the season. Instead of doing bowls for the rest of the teams that don't make it, you have another tournament. You have a group of 5 tournament. Have more tournaments in the off season like you do in basketball. There's been so many things floated out there. I think there's better things to do. Honestly, if you're one of these bowl sponsors, more people are going to watch you anyway, even if it's a preseason game that doesn't count. I don't know. People are going to be all hyped up for football. Maybe that's the answer. I have no idea. In a perfect world, I'd like to see him actually count and be the first game of the season. So like, oh, I made the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and you play the Pop-Tarts Bowl the next year in the first game of the season against whoever it was going to be against. I think that'd be cool. That'll never happen that way, but.
Last week, our conclusion that I think we kind of all agreed on, or both agreed on, was 20 bowl games maximum, or there's at least a cap on. It's no longer 6-6, make it 7-5, or you only have 4 teams from each conference that can go to a bowl game, something to that effect. But a strong cap at like somewhere in that 17 to 20 range. Don't have a bowl affiliated with the playoffs, but keep the conference tie-ins. Like I want the Rose Bowl. There's no Pac-12 anymore, but you just kind of go down the list the way that they did if your team was playing in the national championship back in the day. The runner-up of the Big Ten would go to the Rose Bowl, but you kind of keep it away from the playoff. The playoff is its separate entity, but we don't need to be starting to invite 4 and 8 teams to go play in a bowl game.
I don't hate the idea. I don't think it's going to make it matter anymore, though, just because there's still going to be so many people sitting out and so many. I don't think there's a perfect answer for the postseason for the non-playoff teams because it's going to be the same thing. It's kind of why I like the idea of just, hey, let's flip these around and play them some other time when it actually matters, or maybe doing tournaments and you got the NIT quote type tournament, and you let the group of 5 teams go and play for their own championship. Like minus the one team that made it to the real one. I don't know. Something like that. I think there's more fun ways to do this. I don't know if you can really make them matter too much anymore, but
not with NIL unless you're going to start paying them extra money for if you participate in this bowl. Blah, blah,
it would matter. It would matter in group of 5. The group of 5 guys would play that. If the group of 5 had their own tournament, they would the teams that would make that, they would all play.
Mhm.
Those guys would play in that. At least I imagine. Maybe you'd still have some sit outs for the top of the end guys that know they can go and get a NIL deal at Alabama or something. But
When you start tying money to these games, whether it comes from the sponsor, that comes from the NCAA, or comes from the schools, that's when you'll start to have players actually staying and playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really what it boils down to.
be in your NIL contract, but you got to play the bowl game.
Right. Otherwise, it gets voided. Like, I don't necessarily care if they do or don't play anymore. Like, once you get to the bowl game, if your second or third string quarterback's in, that doesn't bother me. I mean, that's cool to see something different. It's a spring game, just in the winter.
Yeah, the bowl games have kind of the non-playoff games have kind of become more just for the fans of those teams more than casual watching. Like that's kind of the thing. Back a couple of years ago, you could sit down and let's just call it BCS era. You'd sit down and watch every damn bowl game. I do it too. Sit down and watch every damn bowl game because they all felt like they meant something. Whatever. Anymore, and honestly, I don't even mind it because I get my fix off the playoffs. I mean, I feel fulfilled by the end of the season. Honestly. To me, I do.
Yeah, you're a psycho though. So
I want more Cheez-It bowls.
It's more cheeses.
I want more R&L Carriers bowls.
I'll take more Pop Tarts.
Pop Tarts Bowl 2.
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, that's the other thing is the branding. Look at what Pop Tarts and Cheez-Its did. Even the Sun Bowl. If you have cool branding like that and you really play into it, everyone loves the bowl game.
Tony the Tiger Bowl had the cereal bowl on the side, right?
Yeah, the Sun Bowl.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I agree. Yeah,
they're
Do
great.
something like that. But get off the bowl tangent again. So yeah,
you talk about it forever.
Oregon's win, impressive, but numbers wise, doesn't look that great. Miami, not that it doesn't look that great, but they got a lot of help numbers wise. Miami's got a dominant defensive line. There's really not much to say on the Indiana-Alabama thing. I think it's very clear, and Kurt Cignetti has made a clear statement that Indiana is the best team in the country.
I can tell you I was right about this one last week, wasn't I? Though
I think we all picked Indiana.
no, I told you by like a million. I said this is the one Indiana's going to destroy Alabama, and you were still on like, oh, I don't know, Alabama though.
Alabama doesn't make sense anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll still get up off the mat at some point.
I don't know, dude.
Not now.
I think this is it's a reminder again that Saban's gone. This is a whole different Alabama, and having that idea of like, but they're always still. It's remember Alabama, the pedigree of it. This is a different team now.
They're not the only team that can play players anymore.
Yeah, this is to me. This was the clear indicator that college football has changed, and Alabama might. This might be the moment where they really take a step back.
College football's changed in the fact that you can buy a roster and it can be very good. Let's look at Indiana, look at Texas Tech, look at Ole Miss.
Ohio State last year.
Did they buy a lot of that?
$20 million team.
I would say, I imagine.
I was going a bit more based off the transfers portion.
They got
Texas Tech and Ole Miss on the transfer. But
Ohio State had a lot of transfers last year. So I was getting at.
Did they?
Yeah.
I guess Caleb Downs would count as a transfer too.
Quinshawn, their quarterback. Yeah.
I forgot about that. You know what? No, those were all homegrown Ohio guys.
Quinshawn Judkins, homegrown Ohio State.
Yeah, exactly.
Will Howard too.
That leaves us only quarterfinal game left. That leaves us is Ole Miss and Georgia, which was a wild game. The rematch that I think Ole Miss wanted. Ole Miss probably should have won the first game, even though statistically they were outdueled a little bit, but they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. They kind of let that one slip away. Georgia felt like all year, I think that they were missing something on defense. I think it showed itself here too. I think Chambliss probably showed that he probably should have been in New York. There was a lot of people that thought that to begin with, but not that he should have won, but
You can make that argument. Great game.
good enough to be a finalist.
Yeah, great game. Georgia, who this is a hard one for me because I don't know if I want to sit there and say like I told you Georgia wasn't that good all year, or because I was saying the same thing with Ole Miss, but it's just funny. The Ole Miss thing's so freaking funny.
That they just keep winning.
They just keep winning. Your coach is gone. Doesn't matter.
It represents the SEC of like how the SEC really felt the whole year. As far as like it seemed like week to week, we thought Alabama was the best team in the SEC, and it was Georgia, and it was Ole Miss. There was a point probably earlier in the season where we thought Texas was going to be the representative for them, and to have the team represent the SEC in the Final Four be the team that doesn't have their head coach right now that they had all season fits to a T. So I did say also last week that I thought Georgia was going to win, but this was the one game I was not sure about at all, and I thought it was going to be a close game and it was going to be a coin toss. But that's why I'd say I'm kind of with Adam. I'm not totally surprised that Georgia lost. It did kind of feel like they always had something missing. Like there was a point towards the end of the season, obviously, when they just destroyed them in the SEC championship. They were, all of a sudden, everyone was like, "Oh, they're a real contender now. You got to look out for Georgia." But they were still always missing something.
I don't know what it was exactly. It just they did everything. They just didn't do it as well as Kirby usually does it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been
I
that
think
way
that's
the last
really what
2
it
years.
comes down to.
They've been on the same path as Bama in a lot of ways. The last 2 years, it's just like it's not the same.
I think part of how much do you think of that is the transfer portal taking their depth away? Is it really that their starters aren't as good as they are, or that they don't have the depth pieces that they
Could be a
used?
little bit of both.
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's a combination of the transfer portal. It's a combination of NIL. It's a combination of, because of that, talent being spread out. But also, like, the more teams you add into a playoff, the more unpredictable things you're going to see. The more teams you have that, you know, you got 12 versus the previous 4, you're now going to see more upsets inherently because you're just adding more elements into it. So there's a better chance of a lower seeded team coming in and beating a higher seeded team.
Well, if we were doing 4, Georgia's playing Ohio State, right? So there you go.
That's what I'm looking
2
at.
teams that aren't even in it anymore.
That is the one positive of the 12-team playoff versus the previous 4 or 2 is that you can now be like a Miami or be like an Ole Miss and struggle at certain points in the middle of the season, and your season isn't over. Like you can lose 2 games, you know, you can have 2 rough spots and still be a good, you know, if you're still a good team, you can still compete for a championship.
You can actually get better throughout the season.
Ole Miss struggled. They only had one slip up.
Yeah.
They never really struggled. They blew a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter to Georgia. They weren't ever really the 6th best team in the country.
They should have lost to Washington State though.
Did they?
They didn't, but they should have. That was my whole theory with them all season. But
That's based on one game though, too.
yeah, it
But
wouldn't matter. They would have lost that and probably still been in because, you know.
because
I
they're in
think
the SEC.
also, how often does a team lose their head coach and they're still just as good as they were the weeks prior and they don't fall apart? How often does that really happen?
Usually your head coach that's leaving isn't leaving a team in the playoff. I think this is a really rare occurrence where you've already assembled a roster that's not going to cripple itself once you leave, because no one's going to leave in the middle of a playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. They have the fired coaches bump in a sense, because, I mean, as far as they're concerned, Kiffin got fired. he left. He's gone. It doesn't matter how or why, but you get the fired coach's bum because everyone wants to boost up the interim. I know that he's the real coach now, but there's still that bump there. I don't think they were a bad team. People just forgot that they were good.
It's hard to tell. Yeah, it was hard to tell with Ohio State. It was hard to tell with A&M. Sometimes it's just hard to tell. That's why we play the games.
Yeah.
That's personally why I like the playoff. You know what? Because if we were doing 4, we wouldn't be seeing Ole Miss right now. And how awesome is it seeing Ole Miss right now? It's the highlight of the playoff so far.
Well,
to me,
if we did 2, we would just have a Indiana Ohio State rematch, and we could have had an Oregon something else in the Rose Bowl and not worried about this being a playoff.
I want the best teams to win, man. I don't care how we get there.
So
let's play the games. We're playing the games. We're getting good results out of it. Same thing last year. The 2 teams that made it wouldn't have been in. So
I'm wondering if a lot of the seeding though also has that into account. Like, let's punish X team this much because we know they're good enough to come in as a 9 seed and win the next game. And then that gives validation to us having a 12-team playoff.
I don't think they think that deep into it, to be quite honest.
They manipulate some things sometimes. We saw it this year, but I don't think it's to that extent. I don't think they're worried about. They're not putting teams at 9 who should be at 4. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it. It's been a fun playoff. We got 2 more great games this weekend. I'm sorry, not even this weekend. Thursday
And Friday.
It's tomorrow. It's today if you're listening to this.
Both tomorrow, right? It's one tomorrow, one Friday.
You got it.
And then the national championships the following. Why are we playing on? Why can't we just get a normal
NFL?
Yeah.
It's wild card weekend.
Don't roll your eyes.
super wild card weekend? What?
Yeah,
I
super
think it's
wild card
stupid that
weekend.
their Steelers are playing on a Monday night.
Why?
It's
But it's super.
I'm excited. Hey, we ain't playing the early Saturday game for once. We got a good primetime game.
The unstoppable force meets the immovable object. We'll see if the Steelers break the streak, or if you can break the Steelers streak.
And I cheer for the Cleveland Browns. Anyway, let's do some picks. We only got 2 games.
That was a rant, and also not much of a recap of any of those games. So that was terrible to anyone listening.
No, man. What were we going to talk about? Team beat the other team. We played this games a week ago. Miami and Ole Miss. Miami is a 3.5 point favorite. We got why?
3.5 point favorite for Miami might be too much of that recency bias. I think that you and I were talking about Coop with the Steelers and Texans and limbo, that sort of thing. That being said, I'm riding Miami's defensive line until those wheels fall off. I started with them in the beginning of the playoffs. I believe I picked them to go beat Ohio State. Did I? Or did I have Ohio State winning? No, I didn't pick them.
You picked it.
I did?
I have no idea.
Okay. Maybe I didn't pick them.
Breaking news. I don't know.
Breaking news. No one knows.
You made the pick. You should remember what you said.
Well, I don't remember. I know that I often pick things and then I bet the opposite. I know that I bet Miami, so that usually probably means I picked Ohio State, but I believe I made a strong recommendation that Miami could really be alive in this game with that defensive line. Point being, Miami's defensive line is going to get them to the national championship game.
Cooper.
Oh, I have to go.
Yeah.
Can I just say I don't know?
I'm in the same boat, dude. I'm in the same boat.
I had out of the
Pick one
quarterfinal.
group on the team that you like better than the other, and that's the reason they're going to win. Just believe in that.
Oh, that's
how you do it.
Mm-hmm. That's very smart. I was my bracket's kind of busted up because I went 50-50 last week for my picks.
Ohio State got exposed
because Ohio State lost, and then I had Georgia over Ole Miss, but I had the Indiana obviously right, and I had the Oregon right. But so like this is a game now where it's like I got no idea. I got two teams playing each other I did not see in the semis. It's hard to not, because they beat Ohio State, it's hard not to pick Miami, but I'm actually going to roll with Ole Miss on this one. I don't know why. I just have this bad feeling that when it comes to those two teams, those two quarterbacks, I have more belief in Ole Miss than Carson Beck in Miami. I don't know why. Maybe it's just more so just the SEC bias within me.
There you go.
I was just saying,
pick one thing and you go with it. You hate Carson Beck. That's why Miami's not going to win.
I guess that's because I'm just so split. I literally could just flip a coin, and if it's heads, it's Miami, tails, it's Ole Miss, and I'll just go with that because I have no clue. You have two teams, like I said, that I did not see in the semis. I got one team that that I thought shouldn't have even been in the playoffs, and then I got another team that doesn't even have its head coach, and I have no idea how long they're going to be able to ride this and continuously play this well. That being said, I'll go with my SEC bias and pick Ole Miss. I liked how they played against Georgia, and hopefully I'm correct. Adam?
Here's what I think is going to happen, as I'm in the same boat with you. So I got to think rationally. And rationally, ESPN's not going to let an SEC team lose again. They're going to pay off the refs. They're going to pay off the refs. And the refs are somehow going to cost Miami the game late, and Ole Miss is going to go to the national championship.
That's the rational.
That's the rational take. Yep.
Okay.
The SEC is going to rig this game somehow or another. ESPN, whoever, the overlords of college football are making sure that Ole Miss goes to the national championship because we can't have the SEC looking this bad. That's the rational take. Oregon and Indiana.
Cooper, I'm looking at it now. There is something to be said about the number of attempts that Carson Beck has.
Yeah.
If it gets to the mid 30s, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. Are we going to have the Carson Beck game finally?
Well, that might be the key right there, is what you just pointed out, is that if Ole Miss can shut down Miami's run game, that might be the key. Because if the run game continuously plays well and gets chunks, that will keep Miami in the game, might get him the win. But if they can shut him down and force Carson to try to make plays and put more pressure on him, mistakes might come out, and that might be the advantage that Ole Miss needs.
It could be.
Or the refs will rig it.
Or in Adam's prediction, the refs will rig it on the last play penalty or something to give
the refs are going to have a major factor in this game. Mm-hmm. I'm calling it now. Yep.
It will come down to there will be defensive pass interference that they won't call on Ole Miss on a last-second touchdown in the end zone, and Ole Miss will win it because of that.
It'd be something like that. Yep. Calling it now. Remember this next week.
It's going to be so sad when that actually happens now.
We haven't had one of those yet, so
yeah.
We got to have the ref game now. All right. Oregon, Indiana. Indiana 3.5-point favorite. I'll go first on this one. I'll let you guys think. I don't know how to not pick against Indiana at this point. We've been riding them all season. They've been my number one team all season. Some of us watched them play against Illinois when Ohio State also played against Illinois and didn't look as good. Picking Indiana. I think Indiana covers. We played this game once earlier this year. It's hard to beat a team twice. That part's kind of scary. Maybe Oregon's going to figure it out and figure out how to beat them, but Indiana looks unbeatable right now. I can't pick against them. They look too damn good.
I think the first meeting between the two was, I think it was generous towards Oregon. You said that's a 3.5 point spread in Indiana's favor.
Yep.
I think it should be probably 7.5. I think Oregon got a few gifts to keep that game as close as it was, and they had the bump to play in Eugene. They still lost by 10, I think. I don't think it was 7. Maybe it was a 7-point game.
30 to 20.
30 to 20 is a 10-point game.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think you could be looking at 14 or 20 in this one. I think you should expect to look at 14 or 20. I don't think Oregon has the means to really move the ball that well. I think Indiana's that they didn't move the ball that well in Eugene. In score, I guess, better way to put it. But they're not playing at home this time either.
First game was a very defensive battle for what the score actually said. You're probably right on that.
Which is what you'd expect, yeah. So I think this line should be closer to 7.5 for Indiana. I don't see Oregon. I think Oregon has played all season as not necessarily a not to lose. They just haven't made the mistakes to put them in situations to lose. But I don't think they've ever had to go out and win a game outside of the Indiana game. And obviously they didn't.
Penn State, I guess.
Do that.
Penn State was a gritty win. You give them that one.
There's some plays in that game.
They're a hard team to judge. They still are. They kind of got as far as Big Ten schedules go. The 3 Big Ten teams that everyone loved this year all kind of played some iffy schedules, and it's been hard to kind of gauge that a little bit, as we saw with Ohio State. So I see what you mean. How tested are they? There's still some questions with Oregon where I don't feel confident sitting here saying like, oh yeah, I think they can beat Indiana. I think anyone can beat Indiana right now.
Mm-mm. No, I don't know that tested is all right. How many times do you need to be tested anymore? They've played the games. We know what they are.
Yep.
It's just, is the game, are the players enough, and is the game plan good enough to beat an Indiana? And I don't think either is at this point.
What do you think, Cooper?
Am I thinking too much about this?
Are you
Yeah.
trying
So,
to find a reason to pick
Trying
Oregon?
to do this again.
I just
I'm
feel like
going to have Kurt Signetti show up at your house and make you talk to him and be like, am I thinking too hard about this? Are you really standing in front of me?
well, I mean, also you kind of made a point. I think it was last week that Adam wasn't here about like, are we sure that like we have never seen Signetti get this far? We don't know for sure. Like there was that doubt against Alabama. Now, granted, I didn't have that doubt against Alabama, but I personally feel like Oregon and Alabama are 2 different teams completely. I never had any belief that Alabama should have even been in the playoffs after the SEC championship game. And Oregon, I feel like, is like this sneaky good team.
Apparently, Georgia shouldn't have been in the playoffs either after the SEC championship game. So I'm not buying that one either. But
To Adam's point as
That's
well,
what I'm
it's also that it's that thing of like to beat a team twice in one season is tough. And that's another thing where it's like, I almost want to take Oregon. I really do. I feel like it might be the dumbest thing. And like I said, it feels like it feels too obvious.
if
That
you
was a
take
dumb
Oregon
argument.
and Indiana wins, you have to buy an Indiana shirt and wear it on this show until there's a new national champion.
Yes.
That shirt's gonna get so dirty.
Doesn't matter. We're gonna send it to Signetti when you finally take it off and have him sign it too, and then it's gonna go up in our studio.
That would actually be pretty cool if I get a signature
The
from you.
studio, yeah.
No, I wasn't even talking about the studio. I was talking about a signature for
Fly
me.
once a week to go sit in this random studio in some back alley lot in the middle of the city. Yeah.
Yeah.
Already got one picked out, guys. Don't even worry about it.
I'm either the dumbest person on the planet or I am the biggest genius. I'm going to take Oregon. We'll find out next week, I guess.
Wrap it up.
This was the college football show.
I'm trying to get revenge for the
just
Ohio
cut it.
State
Just-
thing.
Just,
That's what I'm
just,
trying to do. I'm trying to redeem myself.
just cut it.
If Cooper, you know what? If Oregon does win this, Adam and I will show up shirtless next week.
I don't want that.
We'll do something.
We'll make some
Yeah.
more AI pictures for Cooper.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, then I guess I'll sign us off with my amazing pick. This has been the College Football Show. Like, comment, and subscribe for more riveting content.
Subscribe and resubscribe.
Do Hank's thing, I guess. Subscribe and then hit that notifications bell to see next week if I was the biggest idiot on the planet.
I think Cooper attended the
biggest
Quality Luring Center.
Figure out if he is still the dumbest person on the planet.
This has been the College Football Show. See
Is
y'all
that a-
next week.
Backflip podcast.
Yeah.